Hi folks, welcome to week 7. We will be taking a look at the role of the producer. This is the first of the next couple of weeks where we're going to be looking at individual roles within theater and having you have the opportunity to practice either using your imagination or actual skills in executing what we've been watching thus far. We're going a little bit out of order. We're starting with the producer on purpose. More and more, and particularly in American theater, you can't do much if you don't have the money to produce it. You need a little bit of capital, and the person whose job it is to produce the show is the one that finds that money so that you can make choices afterwards. So we're going to talk about both commercial and not-for-profit theater. We'll talk a little bit about community theater and sort of the hybrid that we had talked about at the very, very beginning of the year. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the economics post-COVID. It has sort of turned the theater world on its head in the last 6 years, simply because the way that we had been doing business prior to the pandemic is no longer the way the world works. And that has a lot to do with the thing that I'm recording on right now, our glowing boxes that have sort of split our focus in a bunch of different ways. So we're going to begin. I'm going to be doing these little mini lectures. We'll begin with for-profit theater. I'm going to have you take a look at a video, really in-depth interview with Eva Price, who is currently an individual producer. She works with a team of colleagues who produce different shows on Broadway right now. She's in a line of individual producers. It's interesting that the role of for-profit commercial producers are in sort of the lineage of European producers who were producing impresarios that would produce in opera or ballet. When we got into the 1800s in America, that sort of model of a single person being the money person who would then drive the logistics of the thing. Sort of like, if you know Gilbert and Sullivan, they had a producer named D'Oyly O'Cart. It was his production company that made all of their shows, their operettas. Later on in American theater, we had the Schuberts and the Nederlanders. They were big, they were family-run businesses, but they were sort of these behemoths, these monopolies in the late 1800s. And as we got into the 1900s, we start seeing individuals or teams of people who not only are money people, but also are in the creative field as well. Hal Prince is one that your book highlights. There's also Scott Rudin, Eva Price would be one of these individuals who have ideas and see a show all the way through to its realization on Broadway or off Broadway. Oftentimes working things out on tour. But ultimately, the thing that separates the New York commercial theater is, and particularly right now, is that they are so expensive to run on a daily basis. So even just renting a theater, right, the leasing the theater that you're going to be performing your show in, you're probably looking at upwards of multi-million dollars a week. So you got to clear a certain amount of money in order to continue running the show, which means that the producer has to accumulate a whole lot of funds. Eva will talk a little bit about that in the video that you're going to watch. So I'll send you over to her. As we talked a little bit about back when we were talking about categorical companies, when I had you do your theater survey near you. Commercial theater, and particularly Broadway, there are investors that invest into, or backers they call them, backers in commercial theater, and the backers expect a return. And so if a producer can't shoulder that cost on their own, and in this day and age that's very seldom the case, they have to go out and find backers to fund and invest in the show, and those folks then expect a return back. And so along with the very high cost of producing, you also have that pressure of being a person that's keeping all the balls in the air, keeping all the artistic people happy, making sure that you're making something the audience, the audience will want to pay money to come see. That's a big part of it, because inevitably both you and the backers are trying to recoup your expenses and then make money on top of that. So here's Eva Price. I hope you enjoy.